Hey, Walt here from StoGearReview.com with another video cigar review. And actually, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, actually. Yesterday, I posted a review of the EP Carrillo New Wave Connecticut. It was kind of spur of the moment, and, you know, it kind of, I don't know, shook my routine a little bit. You know, I was really happy to do the review. I got it out there. The comments on it have been fantastic. It seems to be well received. You know, overall, I'm really happy with the review. But, you know, I knew that tonight, Monday night, I would need to sit down and figure out what I was going to do for Tuesday on Stogie Review. So, you know, I'm giving it some thought on my drive home from picking up my daughter. And I really don't know what I'm going to do. You know, I get home, I feed the baby, you know, just do some odds and ends around the house. And in the back of my mind, I'm still got this blaring question, you know, what am I going to do on Stogie Review tomorrow? Because I really have no idea what to smoke and review. So my wife comes home, we have dinner, and we hang out for a little bit, and still, I don't know what I'm doing. I come down into the office, you know, I'm standing over top of my humidor, scratching my chin, and just drawing a blank. I have no idea what I'm going to smoke and review. You know, and I'm looking at a couple of things. You know, I've got these La Florditas from Famous, but they're labeled as La Flordita Gold. I'm getting the impression that these are more of a mild cigar. I haven't done any research on them yet. I don't want to smoke a mild cigar in the evening. I haven't smoked any of them anyway, so I don't want to do a first impression of a cigar I have 5 of. So you know, I set those aside, and then I'm just kind of digging through, and you know, it's everything I pick up. It's, you know, we've done this one, you know, this one's been done to death. You know, I don't have any information on this one. It's a potential review candidate, but you know, I'm just not feeling it. You know, and I'm going back and forth, and I'm getting kind of frustrated. I started digging through some coolers and looking at you know, a variety of cigars, and just nothing was calling my name. So finally, I got kind of frustrated. I grabbed a CAO LX2. I pulled the cellophane off. I took a picture of it for the review. I sat down, and I got the camera set up, the laptop on, and I'm all ready to fire up the laptop, or the camcorder. And you know, I'm just thinking, well, you know, what am I going to do with this? So we've done it twice already, and you know, these revisiting videos are interesting. It's been sitting in my humidor for, I don't know, months, at least 6. So you know, it's got a little bit of age on it. You know, and then I'm thinking, well, you know, can I twist this and do maybe you know, 5 more questions like Jerry does, or maybe do a weekend smoke? Well, that's not going to work, because I really haven't been keeping track of what I've been smoking, and it's been kind of frustrating. So I'm all ready to turn the camera on and just wing it and do the review on the LX2. And you know, I decided to no. I get up, I put the LX2 back in the humidor, and I started digging some more. And I came across a sample of cigars that Jose Blanco sent me from La Aurora. And you know, I thought, well, you know, I'm supposed to have smoked all these already, and have done a comparison review with them. But you know, with my daughter being born and everything else that we had going on, they kind of got pushed to the back burner and totally forgot about. So I thought, you know what, it's been long overdue. I might as well light one of these up and smoke it. You know, I've had a couple before. I know I'll enjoy it, and you know, we'll see how these go. And this is the La Aurora 100 Años Toro. And the last one I reviewed was the Robusto. And if you remember, in that review, I talked about doing a comparison between different sizes. I think Jose sent me 4 or 5 different sizes, all of which were manufactured in different years. So depending on which size I pick up and smoke, it has a different level of age on it than the others. It may be as much or as little as, you know, 6 months, or as much as a few years. So all of the cigars have some age on them, and they have varying degrees of age. And when we switched over the email system, I kind of lost everything. So I don't know that I have the original email with the original information in it. I'll see what I can do to dig it up. But again, this is kind of just winging it, and at least I'm winging it with a cigar that should be really good. But enough babbling, 5 minutes of me just totally rambling on. And now let's take a look at the technical side of the cigar. And first and foremost, I just want to give it a quick once over. And the first thing I'm going to look at is the color. And I'm not seeing any color variation. It looks very good. It's consistent from head to foot around the veins. Sometimes you get just lighter sections of wrapper that travel along with the veins. In this case, it's consistent. I don't have those light spots. There are no dark spots. It's visually appealing. Veins are small. The seam that spirals down the cigar is straight. It's pressed flat. It's not lifting anywhere. And, it looks to be a very well-made cigar. The cap is nicely formed. It rolls over the shoulder, and there's plenty of tobacco that rolls over the shoulder, so when I clip this I shouldn't have to worry about the last little bit of cap coming off or getting stuck to my lip, which sometimes happens. But all in all, it looks very good. The aroma is really, really mild. I don't know whether that's from age or if it's just a very mild aroma to begin with. But it sort of smells like tea. So. I'll give this a quick clip. And my poly was starting to get dull. I'll have to send it back and get another one. Hasn't caused any problems with cigars. I have to take a bit more time cutting. I can't just lop off the end, as I've torn a couple that way. But if I take my time, twist it in the cutters, I don't have any problems, even if it's a little dull. The draw is fantastic. It's free flowing. Just a little bit of resistance, so it shouldn't overdraw. And that same tea flavor I'm getting on the cold draw, the taste that I'm picking up. So with everything looking good, it's about time to light up the cigar and get going. I keep glancing at the camera and it's been entirely too long. Too much talking, not enough smoking. This video is going to be long as it is because this is a Toro. And, now that I've burned up 8 minutes on the introduction, it's going to be a long one. So when I break, you may want to, hit pause and go get a drink or something. Lighter's running low on fluid. I don't like that taste at all. First puff is really grassy. It's got a kind of a char-like flavor. Alright, second puff, that grassy flavor lightened up considerably. Now it tastes like almost like a burnt caramel. Now it's turning more to like a almost like a campfire kind of aroma, tasty thing. So the foot of the cigar may have been a little dry, or just may have had something to do with age and exposure at the foot. But first puff was not to my liking at all, but it's obviously moving in the right direction. So far so good. nice smoke volume. It's nice and dense, easy to get through the sinus. Coats the palate a little bit. I got a little bit of a tingling sensation on the lips, almost like hot sauce does. But you know, we're headed in the right direction, and it's been 10 minutes, so I'm gonna take a break. I'll come back in a few minutes, or for you it'll be like instantaneous, and we'll take a look at the first third. So sit tight. All right, well, I'm back, and I'm not really far into my La Aurora 100 Años at all. But, you know, I lit up the cigar. I took a couple of puffs. The first one was just awful. The second one was better. The third one was better yet. You know, the fourth, fifth, and sixth one were better. You know, we're going in the right direction. And then the smoke started to get really thin. And the heat was traveling through the cigar much faster than it normally does. You know, and the flavor is just getting really off. It's really dry. It's overly woody, and it's harsh. I'm not liking it all. The ash is forming really well. It's nice and compacted. It's holding well. It appears to be strong. It's light in color. The burn line is fantastic. It's nice and thin. It's even. You know, everything is looking good, but the smoke is getting hot. It's harsh, and I think, you know, there's got to be a hole in the filler. So I break the ash off and I look, and, you know, sure enough, I've got a hole in the filler. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus on that. And, you know, that from what I understand, this can happen for a variety of reasons. You could have a piece of Lajero in there that doesn't burn properly and it breaks off, and, you know, it falls out when you ash. I also understand it could be a problem during the bunching process. I've seen photos and some video footage from the La Aurora factory. Unfortunately, I've never had the pleasure of going there, but from the pictures and video I've seen, it appears as though they use a Lieberman machine on some of the cigars. I don't know whether if the Lieberman machine also bunches this cigar, or if it's just you know, the standard La Aurora line. The core line, or if you will. But the Lieberman machine, I'm not quite sure exactly how it works, but you know, it appears to be kind of like two wheels and a piece of leather, and you know, you put the tobacco in there and you roll it forward, roll it back, and it bunches the cigar, and I think it may even apply the binder for you. I've seen there used to be a shop in the area. Well, the shop is still there, but they no longer employ the roller that used to roll their house cigars, and she used to use one of these Lieberman machines. It increased time, and one of the interesting things about this machine is it seems to be tremendously consistent. And you know, a lot of the companies that I think use these machines are Dominican companies. I rarely get this problem with a hole in the filler, so it could just be a fluke. It may be they're hand bunching the 100 Años. I really don't know how that works, but whatever the case is, I've got a hole in the filler, and the cigar really does suck right now. A lot of times I can burn past these and it's not too much of an issue, but the whole time that's there, it's a real problem. The cigar just doesn't taste right. It doesn't burn properly. You don't get a good smoke density. It's really airy. It gets kind of hot. And, you know, just overall, it's a headache. If it's really bad, I'll get out the cutters and I'll clip the end of the cigar and I'll relight. You know, sometimes when you re-clip the foot, you've got a flat foot and everything looks proper as it should. And then when you start lighting, you'll see another little hole develop. So I don't know whether the tobacco's just not densely packed in that area, so it's burning really quickly, or if it really is just a hole in the filler, and you know, it just kind of snakes through until the tobacco, you know, becomes denser or better packed. So I'm not 100% sure what causes it. I just know that it's a real hassle when it happens. I'm going to turn the camera off, smoke a little bit more, and see if I can get past this. Worst case scenario, I'll cut the foot and relight. I really don't want to have to do that. Sometimes you damage the wrapper when that happens. But we're going to give it a shot, and we're going to just keep going. I'll soldier through it and see what happens. And, you know, I'll be back in the second third, hopefully with really good news about how I burned past the hole, and you know, everything's hunky-dory, and the cigar is performing flawlessly. But for now, it's a real disappointment. So, enough grim, bad news. I'm going to take a break. I'll be back in just a second, and keep your fingers crossed for good luck. Well, I'm back, still plugging along on my La Aurora 100 Años, and as you can see, it's a little bit shorter than it was the last time I was on, and I'm more or less burned through that hole in the filler that I was experiencing. The smoke volume is still fairly low and a little problematic, but I definitely seem to be past that hole in the filler more or less. The smoke density is picked up a little bit. It's coating the palate a little better. The flavor profile is still overly dry for my palate, and that's something I don't really remember with the other samples of the 100 Años that I've had, especially in the Robusto size. I remember liking that cigar immensely, and you know, I thought the flavors were very rich, and they coated the palate really well, and I didn't have this overly dry sensation, or at least I don't remember having it. But this one, you know, I don't know whether the blend's a little different or if age has anything to do with it, but I'm not enjoying this as much as I did the smaller cigar in the Robusto format. The primary flavor that I'm getting is a woody tone, and it kind of reminds me of a campfire. It's like campfire-esque. You know, if you've ever gone camping and you sit down, it's kind of chill, and you start a fire, and you get that smell of burning wood. Or if you're out for a walk in the fall, and someone's got a fireplace in their home, you can smell the wood burning. It's a very nice aroma. It's pleasant. I really do like it a lot. I'm getting a bit of that out of this cigar, and I'm finding that pleasant. But I'm having a hard time getting past the dryness on the palate. And you know, because the smoke density is a bit lower than I like, I keep wanting to touch it up. But you know, I'm thinking that, you know, maybe it's not burning properly. I'm not having as much trouble with the cigar being warm, with heat sort of tunneling down the end. So the harshness is gone, but it's just not burning properly. Or at least I'm not getting the mouthful of smoke that I should be getting, or that I'm expecting. As far as the burning characteristics go, excluding the hole in the filler, the cigar does really well. The ash is light in color. It's nice and compacted. It's a nice firm shape, and the burn line's thin and even. You know, it does really well, except for, you know, that hole I had in the filler for a while. And even though I'm past that, it's still kind of light and airy. I'm getting a little bit of like a white pepper, which is really nice. Through the sinus, it's very clean. You know, I don't get that burning sensation. I don't get an unpleasant lingering feeling or flavor. It's very crisp, and you know, it drifts off the palate very quickly. It's got an aftertaste that I would consider like virtually non-existent. Your palate just feels clean afterwards. You're just left with a little bit of residual dryness, mostly across the roof of my mouth, a little bit on the tongue. But you know, flavor-wise, it's interesting. I'm struggling with the dryness. I'm struggling with smoke density, and you know, just sort of a really rough comparison to the Robusto. I'm not liking this as much as I did that cigar. And unfortunately, I only have this one left. Jose Blanco was kind enough to send me 2 of all of these sizes, and I smoked one of the Toros in preparation for this review, you know, several months ago. But I didn't get to recording the review, so this is my one and only sample. Unfortunately, it turns out that this one was the the worse of the two. I don't remember having this problem with the hole in the filler, and I certainly didn't have that problem with the Robusto, not that I remember. But that's where we are with the second third. I'm going to just kind of relax a little bit more, see if the cigar turns around on me, and I'll be back one last time. We'll take a look at the final third. I'll give you my overall opinion, and I'll let you be on your way. So sit tight. Well, I'm back, and it's about time to wrap up my La Aurora 100 Años. As you can see, I popped the band off long ago, and it's getting fairly short. I've burned through what I imagine is all of that hole in the filler that I was having problems with. And gradually the cigar has gotten better. The smoke density has picked up, it's coating the palate better, it's easier to get through the sinus. The flavors are becoming a little more rich. I'm still getting primarily a wood flavor. It's got a nice sort of smoky campfire effect going on, which I think is really unique and interesting. And it's got a little bit of sweetness that's picking up now. Unfortunately, it's like a little bit, it's too little, too late. That hole in the filler really caused a lot of problems, and it reduced my enjoyment considerably. And again, I really don't know what may have caused that problem, or what really. But the cigar is definitely getting better as it gets shorter, and I get further and further away from that problem. Outside of the excuse me, outside of the flavor, the finish is still clean, easy on the palate. It's nice and soft. Doesn't linger very long. There's virtually no aftertaste. The body is medium. The flavor level or flavor intensity is probably medium as well. And quite frankly, I'm a bit disappointed, and because of that hole in the filler, the cigar actually smoked a bit faster than I expected. When I sat down to do this review, and I was getting kind of frustrated with everything that was going on, and not finding a cigar that I was really feeling, when I saw the La Aurora 100 Años, I got really excited because I enjoyed the Robusto considerably. I had like a mini Lancero in the past, which story for another time, but Jose Blanco ended up giving me a Lancero, but it broke in his pocket, so he ended up clipping it down to about 3 inches, and that cigar was fantastic. So my experiences in the past with the 100 Años line have been very good, so I was excited to smoke the cigar. I was feeling the 100 Años. I was expecting a lot, and I got started maybe 7:15, something like that. Now it's 10 minutes till 9, and I really expected this to last another 40 minutes, just because of the Toro format. I allocated so much time, but as it turns out, it just didn't live up to my expectations. Maybe I set the bar too high. Maybe the flavor level has dropped off because maybe this is older than the Robusto that I smoked. There are a lot of factors, because all of these cigars are aged, and some a lot more than others. We may be looking at 5, 6, 7 years when some of these cigars. So there's a lot can happen in that time, and the flavor could certainly drop off. And in this case, it very well could have. It's a bit dry on the palate, which is something I'm not really into. I like that creamy texture, and and when you combine all those things into my overall opinion, I would hands down rather have the Robusto after my experience with that, and I'd smoke it every time with a smile on my face. This one, I'm left a little disappointed. Had it performed properly, and that hole wasn't there, maybe I'd have a completely different experience. But this particular experience was a bit of a letdown. Now, as I mentioned before, I've got a couple of more 100 Años to smoke. I really need to kind of get them on the calendar and get them taken care of much closer together, so that I can remember each cigar better than digging way back in the memory and pulling out random tidbits. But I'm really looking forward to some of the other cigars. I've got smaller ones. I've got Corona, or something that appears to be a Corona. I've got something even smaller than that, so those ones I'm really excited about. I have a couple of Bellicosos, which I don't know. My experience with the Toros kind of makes me worry about the larger ring gauge of the Bellicoso, thinking that it may be a little less flavorful than the smaller cigars. So it's a crapshoot. I'm really interested to see where all those cigars go. And, you know, as I said, I really need to sit down and sort of force myself to smoke them and get the reviews taken care of in a shorter span of time. So maybe that will be the next kind of series, or at least the fillers in between the days when I do, you know, standard reviews. But that is my experience with the La Aurora 100 Años Toro. And that's going to close it out, because I don't know what else to say. So until next time, happy smoking.